Welcome, dear students, again to this beautiful poem Coming by Philip Larkin. Now, we did the poem yesterday, first half of the poem, and as I already told you that this poem is of 19 lines, and we divided the poem in two halves. So, we discussed line number 1 to 9, and now we'll be discussing line number from line number 9 to 19. The text is there in front of you, and it'll help you to understand the poem in the best way possible. Now, in these upcoming lines, Philip Larkin turns away from the present moment to cast his mind into the future. Now, see, there you could find a little bit of change, because in the previous lines, Larkin was talking about beauty and especially about serenity, about calmness, about the joy that nature brings. And the title of the poem itself, I think, indicates coming. So, coming of what? Coming of the spring season. So, season, nature, spontaneity, serenity, beauty, calmness, solitude, all these things I find are a replica of nature, the joy that nature brings. And why nature brings us joy? Because nature is always giving. It's giving us. It never expects anything from us. It's just giving. It's just making us feel the presence. It's always giving. So I think this is a message we must learn from nature, that we should also always be giving to people. Giving means the goodness that we have, accepting the people, giving whatever we have, not the negative things but the good things, and least expecting from people. So here he knows what all these sights and sounds portend. Spring is coming soon. So here the title of the poem Coming indicates that the poet is waiting for the spring season, and that's why the title of the poem is Coming. Larkin has chosen to repeat this line twice. By doing so, the phrase becomes a briefly recognized mantra. It has been said before and will be said again. As if speaking, it will hurry the season. Now, see, sometimes it feels that a continuous repetition or something, that like he's repeating this line twice. This line has been repeated. It will be spring soon. It will be spring soon. So, we could say that by repetition or by emphasis, we cannot say that something will come earlier or things will happen. But there is a note of positivity, there is a note of optimism in these lines, because the poet is highly optimistic. For the first time in this poem, the speaker refers to himself in the first person. Of course, you know what's the first person? An I whose childhood. So, I is the first person here. While it might be tempting, one should not assume that these memories belong to the writer himself. More supporting evidence would be needed to support that claim. So it says we don't know that these memories of childhood belongs to the writer or to the poet or to anyone else, but we need more claim about it. Now, talking about himself, the poet explains, Larkin explains, that he had a childhood that was unremarkable. It was filled with boring days that were so unnoteworthy that he has all but forgotten them. So now I think here he says that he was not happy with his childhood. He didn't enjoy the childhood the way he was supposed to. A child is supposed to enjoy, and we can easily connect the innocence of childhood to the innocence of the beauty of nature, because nature is equally innocent and childhood is also equally innocent. So he brings up his childhood in the effort to create an impactful contrast when he describes the following emotions. So he just wants to say that why he's bringing up the childhood. I told you one reason is that childhood is a replica, or it's something which represents or symbolizes, is figurative word which symbolizes innocence. And a childhood also, what happens? You've seen a child. What happens when a child? How does the child behave? The child is spontaneous. Spontaneous here means absolutely natural. Okay, and nothing is artificial in the child. And childhood is something that even if a child says something to somebody, or even if a child commits a mistake, he's always forgiven and forgotten by the others, by the elders. And why? It's not because he's a child. Of course, there is one basic reason that he's a child, but the other reason is that the child vibrates so much of innocence, so much purity in itself. Okay, that is the reason that people don't tend to pay attention to what the child is doing, even if it is harmful for him or her. Now let's continue what emotions he's talking about. With his listless youth in mind, he's experiencing the present moment as if he's once more a child and has come upon a scene of adult reconciling. This is what is there, a scene of adult reconciling. He imagines himself with the mind of a child and he feels as if he is witnessing something that is good but which he is which he is incapable of fully understanding. Now, when one is young, what happens? The complexities of adult lives are far out of reach. And for this projecting narrative in this poem, the poet feels and accepts that he knows he will never be able to grasp what it is that makes spring and its coming so joyful. So he never had this experience, so he's never be able to understand or to grasp this experience, that how much joy the coming of the spring season gives to the poet. And in the final lines, the speaker, Larkin, comes to the conclusion of the poem as well as to what could be considered the climax of this short narrative. The emotions he is experiencing, they culminate in a kind of an unstoppable laughter. He feels as if he is feeling off the joy of the world, and just as a child feels off the joy expressed by a parent. So see the emotions, see the laughter, see the joy. Again, there's a mingling, there is a kind of a connection with the youth when one is young. How when one becomes adults, as soon as a child turns into an adult person, complexities, you were the word complexities, enter into his life and the joy diminishes. And when a child enjoys the joy of a child is something which is unstoppable and which is something away from the adultery of the complexities which enters as a person grows. So this is all. I think you've enjoyed the poem. There are so many symbols and you can say connotations which state that the poem is expressing deep, profound feelings of Philip Larkin. Thank you so much.